Dear viewer, yes, you are spending too many hours on your smartphone and on YouTube, Instagram, and deep down, you hate it. You keep saying you want to do something about it. Sure, we all do. This film is about an alternative, going the other way, digital detox. If you like what you see here, do try it at home.
Fool to want you. I'm a fool to want you. To want a love that can be true.
Today, the Eastman Kodak Company used explosives to demolish 2 buildings following the move to digital photography. Once a household name, Kodak is understood to have demolished more than 80 buildings on the site over the past 10 years and plans to demolish at least 16 more by year's end.
Polaroid has closed factories in Massachusetts, Mexico, and the Netherlands. Job cuts include 150 positions to be eliminated over the next couple of
With
months.
a further 300 workers laid off in Mexico and in the company's headquarters in Enschede in the Netherlands.
Today, we're introducing an iPod, a phone, and an internet communicator. This is one device, and we are calling it iPhone.
The smartphone changed everything when it came to photography. We take more photos now than at any time before. This is analog camera sales, and they kind of peak in '99, and then they start falling because digital cameras get invented. And then digital takes a huge step forward. More people taking photos than ever before, because more cameras are out there. And then they fall too. And they fall because the smartphone gets there. And the smartphone really changes the game.
Analogue was truly dead. Film, records, books, letters, outdated, obsolete, gone. Iconic companies were disappearing. Our future was digital, easy, convenient, free. A brave new world was out there, and we couldn't wait. Or could we? In Vienna, I met a man who thought this is all a big mistake. This is his impossible story.
Entschuldigung. Danke. Wow. Bist ein Profi, ja? Vienna is the most analog city in the world, and this place we created, we wanted to bring all the machines and all these magic treasures together, new generation, old generation, so people, customers, and most importantly also investors can feel it. You know, they cannot see them in a PDF or in whatever. So one of our main weapons to really destroy any concerns of investors is this machine. It looks pretty ugly. It's a Spanish style, but when you select your favorite vinyls and then you already hear a magic sound, investors gonna cry, stand in line outside here and say, "Take my money, please."
who's the doc? Why are you doc? Where does the doc come from?
Yeah, somehow the dog is a leftover from my scientific studies. It was very easy. My parents didn't put any pressure on me. They just said, whatever you do, be the best doing it. So pretty soon I found out that the only chance for myself being the best doing something, it's if I do things that nobody else is doing. So I'm the world's most important spider eye muscle expert. My father always asked me, what is this all for? And so that basically the dog is the only outcome from back then. So this title I carried on since then. I always tried to look at things differently. And when everybody was running in this direction, I thought, hey, maybe it's cool to look in the other direction. 60 centimeters. Yeah, that's good. It starts blinking. Again, without manual. Good sign.
"10 years ago, Doc had found a new calling. While we were all salivating over our first iPhone, Doc decided to resist. He became the self-appointed patron saint of all things analog. Step 1, he set up a venture selling expired Polaroid film. It was called Unsaleable.
My theory is that the biggest difference between digital and analog is the fact that digital always just tickles two of your senses. It's always, I can see it, I can hear it, but it's always behind a glass screen. So I cannot really touch it, I cannot smell it, I cannot lick it. So it only, it's nothing real. And therefore, the young generation who grew up digitally, there's so much longing for this real thing they can touch, caress, hold in their hand, that they can possess.
It was the beginning of an unlikely business adventure.
Now, I often tell stories that are not 100% true, but this one really is 150% true.
Do you have your Polaroid color pack camera?
In the 70s and 80s, Polaroid was everywhere. And even today, we all recognize that classic white frame of a Polaroid instant photo. But in 2008, the cultural icon was a mere shadow of its former self. No one believed analog photography had a future, and all Polaroid factories were being closed down. All but this last one in Enschede in the Netherlands. Once churning out millions of packs of film, it was about to vanish. Doc had been invited to the closing party. He couldn't resist. He knew little about film chemistry and even less about running a business. But he had a vision. This factory must be rescued. It was beautiful and important. What everyone else saw, Doc That's impossible.
My wife said, don't go there, give up on it. But I went there and the machines, all of them were still in perfect shape. So I said, there is still a chance. We have to try it. So I went to the Polaroid management, said, do you really want to kill it? Or do you want to give it for adoption and we take care of it?
So when Florian came in and said, I want to buy this film factory in Enschede, Netherlands, don't wind it down, to the owners of Polaroid Corporation, it was a no-brainer to say, sure, if you want to take it over, it saves our wind down costs.
The crazy thing is, they said, you have 1 week, we have then agreed scrap value of the factory parts for 180,000 euro. So if you sign the agreement and transfer me the 180,000 euro, factory is yours. So that was it. Man, I didn't have 180,000 euro, but I immediately started to make something like a business plan. They love the business plan. Business plans was, for sure one of my best, my best specialties.
With a small group of friends, Doc bought the business. They were going to keep Polaroid alive. It sounded crazy. A 1940s tech for the 21st century?
Like a broken cell, but I'll never give you up. If I ever give you up, my heart will.
One of the many snags, Doc wasn't allowed to use the brand name Polaroid, but he soon found a new one.
It was really, literally during a meeting with Polaroid where they continued to tell me, this is impossible, this is impossible, this is impossible. So it was just, I gave up and said, yeah, let's call it impossible.
So, Polaroid was reborn as the Impossible Project, which would prove an interesting choice of name. Never mind, the beginning was fabulous. Life was returning to the factory.
You can swing, you can fail, you can blow what's left of my right minds.
In the beginning, we started with these 10 people at the factory. This was really a hard year.
Everybody told them it was impossible to get it all running. And now, well, here we are. Something already created before I was born. That's amazing. And I am creating it now, daily. That's wonderful.
Meistens, wenn ich die Kamera repariere, ich mache das so und dann gucke ich und dann mache ich so ein Bild. Das mache ich schon von 76 ab. Aber das ist ja jetzt, jeder macht das. Und ich denke, dass ich die meisten Selfies gemacht habe auf der Welt. Ohne dass du weißt, habe ich auch mitgemacht.
Doc took Impossible headquarters to Europe's startup capital Berlin, where he found a team of, well, digital natives who shared his belief in the magic of analog, or at least succumbed to his unrelenting enthusiasm.
I would love to say that all of this was part of a very clever strategy based on my extended studies in business. It's not quite true, to be honest. Basically, it just happened.
This wasn't nostalgia. This was about rediscovering the value of real things, authenticity.
A good way to just look. And in order to understand why Impossible exists, let's go back into the year 1946, when a guy called Edwin Land, who was an incredible inventor and visionary, thought about the beginning of instant photography.
I look forward to the dream of being able to take a wallet out of my pocket and perhaps open the wallet, press a button, close the wallet, and have the picture. Grand machines for a grand purpose.
Express yourself. Express yourself. You don't never need help from nobody else. All
From the beginning, it was clear that this is a magic material. It's not a clone. You cannot print it 500 times. So with the white iconic frame, it was one of no other kind. And back in the days, instant photography and Polaroid was everywhere.
Some people have everything and other people don't. But everything don't mean a thing. If it ain't the thing you want, express yourself.
Good morning, everyone from Impossible. We are now on our way to Enschede, to the film factory.
We are twins. Am I doing the talking all alone? No, I can do it.
The fascination of a lost technology and the big challenge to bring it back.
He told me, do you know this thing called S670? Fucking crazy. And he was like, you know it, it's so cool.
I've never been to the factory before, so it's a super new experience for me. Doc saved the factory from closure and kept all the sort of old machines and had to look at the reformulation of the new films for Impossible.
Oh, look at this, everything is painted. Wow, 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 wow. This is incredible. Hi, hello. Oh, the godfather of camera repair. This is like heaven. Wie geht's? Neuer Palast. Oh, Betsy. She missed me, you know.
If only there weren't the problem with the Polaroid formula. It was tragic. Doc had bought the factory. He got the machines back from scrap metal and persuaded the workers to return. But then they discovered that the formula to actually produce Polaroid film had been lost forever because the chemicals didn't exist anymore.
Instant film is the world's most chemically complicated man-made product ever. There's never been a completely man-made product that is more chemically complicated than that.
Doc and his team were continuing to make instant film, but their product was, well, awful. Colors were all over the place. Bits of the image would disappear, and a photo took 45 minutes to develop. It wasn't pretty.
Oh my God, you know, we had these killer crystals and we had leaking pods and we had pictures disappearing.
I don't understand. The film worked or it didn't work?
Of course it worked. It was perfect, but you know, in a very special way.
Well, yeah, I mean, there was many skeptics. You know, we had a lot of people that we were still talking to who were longtime Polaroid veterans, and they all said that it'll never happen. There's no way.
My God.
This is an innovative product because the images disappear. This is, you know, one of the very first images, and everybody was super excited that we get any result at all. But it was also the beginning of us understanding that there are a lot of challenges in front of us. Nevertheless, we said, please support us and go this journey with us. We don't want to fuck you, but you know, this is an adventure and this is what we can do.
When he first launched the first film, we analyzed it and it was terrible. I mean, it really was. The images, it looked like ghosts, and you know, these weren't of good quality. And so it was disappointing to us. We were really hoping it would be great. But I think Florian didn't realize just how complicated it was.
There were two customers from the beginning. The one said, ooh, yeah, it was nice before it disappeared. And the other one said, you know, call me when you really make film.
It would take them years to reinvent the formula. But Doc wasn't going to be stopped easily. He traveled the world in search of fellow believers and converts. And there was some good news. Doc could see signs of analog coming back. In New York, advertising billboards were again being hand-painted. Impossible wasn't alone.
We're on the 22nd floor of the Sherry Netherland Hotel. This is the famous GM building. Rockefeller Center is that way. And Apple, iconic Fifth Avenue Apple store, rebuilding their glass cube.
They're making it bigger.
They're making it bigger. Doc's been a hero because I followed the Impossible Project since it was truly impossible and bought the very earliest Impossible film. So I thought, well, I'll write this guy. He's iconic in the field and see if he responds. And you did. So we had the digital Skype conversation, and
then we changed to analog.
And then we changed to analog.
Yeah.
I love collecting art, and I love the intersection of art and technology. And there is an intense beauty, I think, that has been incorporated in the design of analog products. This is a famous phone by AT&T from the 70s, 60s, and 70s called the Touch-O-Matic. And so that's the outside line. I have a message. It's just so intensely beautiful, and the way it's designed. And look at the way the speakerphone is designed. It's very cool. So these are the incoming outside lines that are punched down on the punch-down block. These are line cards, and so when I go off hook, then if I put it on hold, you can hear the interrupter cycles through mechanically. And it's very reliable. I mean, these things were really engineered well. I have my housekeeper here, I've got the package room, etc. And you can program in all these different numbers, and so if you call,
Housekeeping, good afternoon, Shelley speaking.
oh, hi, Shelley, wrong number, sorry. There you go.
Why do this, David?
Well, I wanted to make telephone calls, so I needed to connect with the outside world, and it's great.
The Impossible Project, this was the good luck that all of these machines worked, somehow like this. So if something breaks, you still can exchange it and you
Right.
can understand it. It's not a
Right.
black box. So I think this is very similar because it's much easier than all this hidden technology that we have today.
Renaissance. Okay, Oscar. Here we go. And I'll say from David and Doc. Great. Put a few stamps on here. And then we're just gonna send this off.
People were starting to get it. Analog was a decision to keep something and to use it. A choice each of us can make.
Ryan! Ryan! Yes? Okay? Look at me. Okay? That way.
Hold and set.
Otto, what's the camera we're using?
You're using an Arriflex 35 SL camera, probably one of the most sophisticated sync sound cameras in the world. It's a fairly lightweight handheld camera, and we've had quite a few of them, and they're still being used today. It's a 35mm film camera. It's film. It's incredible, you know. We love film.
Isn't film meant to be dead?
Well, film is actually not dead. Fine. And now you have a nice clean frame, a cut. You can use it as a cut and everything, okay? It's beautiful. Beautiful. Now we're walking into our, this is the safe room. This is where all the gold is, you know. It's not gold, it's Leica lenses. They're so expensive, they're like gold, you know. And we love them. And here they are all these lenses. They're worth a lot of money, a lot of money. I would have to sell my house just to buy this, you know.
The Impossible project expanded to New York.
Or whether it's instant photography or film, it's a rebellion against technology making things too easy or too quick.
You have a lot of things with customers where things don't work out with the film. You know, I remember having people saying, you know, hey, my wedding was a disaster, the film didn't work. Of course, it's pretty upsetting, but it's one of the things you have to factor in with that kind of unpredictable media.
Sure, we could all be making iPhone apps, but to what end?
Over time, I really had to ask myself why I was working for the Impossible Project. You know, I really came up with this idea that human beings, we're analog, and I think that's part of the reason why we gravitate towards analog things still, even though we're in this very digital realm.
Do you think this enthusiasm for analog, do you think it is a passing stage or it is something that is here to stay?
You know, I really think that this is just the beginning of a very huge rediscovery of analog across all formats and media. I have the very good feeling that because of the digital acceleration, they are really looking for a digital detox.
Oh my God. I love that.
I really like that.
How does that even happen?
It sometimes does it. I think it's from the chemicals. That's crazy. Like, it looks a bit like it's burned. You know?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's annoying, but mostly it really makes sense that it happens, and you're like, wow, okay, that makes it even better.
It's so trippy, but it balances the picture at the same time.
Yeah.
Is Impossible the business?
Absolutely. I'm very happy that you didn't ask if it's a sustainable business or a profitable business.
Well, that's what I meant.
Not yet. We are still at the very beginning.
This is suddenly the wonderful thing about what we are doing. You know, everybody wants to leave some traces in this world.
If people don't use analog materials, then they will go away. So you want to sort of promote the fact that it's out there, that it's good, it's different, and it's special.
Perfect.
It's experiencing the real.
That's good. That's good.
And not the image of something real.
That was cool.
So many digital products feel a little bit similar. So bright, and the color's so good from even every amateur. People crave something that's a little weird, a little wrong almost.
And talking about a little weird, I think that's the moment to take a weird picture.
Am I in this?
You're in this. We're made of chemistry. Film is made of chemistry. When I see an image shot on film, I feel an affinity for it that I simply have not been able to feel towards digital images.
Photography-wise, it's not just about the perfection of the material, it's about the emotion you connect with it. Even, you know, what the people hated, that this chemistry and that they have this
Oh,
stuff.
you kidding? It's
Nowadays,
a mess, but come on,
yeah,
it's the best.
Exactly. Nowadays, it's the best.
You know, when I was working on the book I wrote, I cannot tell you how many people told me the smell of the reagent on the negative took them to their childhood or to some sexy time they'd had with Polaroid or to their grandparents' house. The smells are evocative.
It's not that I think digital is bad. In fact, I think the argument about film versus digital is really old. It's kind of done. For me, it's keeping a choice alive. for technology to eliminate something simply because it's more convenient is really short-sighted. I want to look at the long term. I want to make sure that people can still use film long after I'm gone.
Doc's project had taken a first corner. The film was at last at least beginning to look like Polaroid. A photo now took only 30 minutes to develop. It was a kind of a honeymoon period. If you looked closely, however, you might have seen some dark clouds forming on the horizon. The photos were cool, but expensive and notoriously difficult to handle. It was then that I got to know Oscar, a young engineer from New York. Oscar was fascinated by instant film, and he saw a future for Impossible in the digital world. He was soon to become a key player in the team.
I'm Oscar Swolakowski. I'm the head of camera right now.
Oscar was only 22 when he joined Doc in Europe, with the intention of learning the business from the boss. Can you imagine?
I came into the job thinking, okay, I'm going to learn from a CEO and how it's supposed to be done. The part I remember was my first day at work, and we went on a ride on his motorcycle to eat at his favorite sushi place. And to be honest, I was like, what the fuck? I can't believe this is how you run a company. It's not been boring.
You could see this at the world's largest photo fair. In 2014, Impossible was still regarded as a charming analog outpost. But theirs was the busiest stand. This was where young people went. And it was young people who were at the heart of the company.
I was 23 when I went to the store for the first time, and you had lines of old Polaroid cameras across all the walls. It definitely had a magic to it, and this kind of retro magic to it. So I picked up an old Polaroid camera, and that was my first experience with it. The first shots were all on old Polaroid cameras, and actually today there are still only old Polaroid cameras. But when you kind of get introduced to it that way, it does have this very retro thing to it. But the more you play with it and you use it, it's less about the retro aspect of it and more about the experience of actually holding a photograph, letting it develop in your hand, which is of course an analog process, but it's more about the experience of it.
I think both Doc and myself, we really loved the product and we wanted to bring it to people. And for me, it was always the challenge of how do we make this business sustainable? How do we give this a future? How do we kind of pay the bills, keep the lights on, and keep everybody employed year by year? And we had this giant factory, and to make that sustainable, we needed to bring the volume of the film up. And to do that, we needed to bring the quality of the film up and the prices down. And I think that's where the biggest difference was between myself and Doc. He really believed that the film we had, this imperfect one, people would fall in love with it the way he fell in love with it.
When the company started, Florian famously said, anything you make in the factory, I'll sell. Like, that's not a product people want. People want instant analog film that develops quickly and looks great, and that's what we want to give them.
Impossible to me was definitely heart over mind. Like with a lot of stuff that comes at you in life, you do it because it feels right, and that was definitely the case here. I felt the need to explore further, to connect to the project in some way, to talk to Doc and see if I could help.
I always knew that I wanted to do something with products, but at Impossible I really figured out what that means, and it really means, putting 2 years of your life into something that's going to launch, endless hours tweaking the details and the millions of things that could go wrong. But it's just like with the analog process, the more you put in, the more you get out. When we took over the factory, it was like, let's bring this film back. Polaroid stopped making it. With the camera, we want to create our own kind of future for these products. So basically, this is our current design. It was very much about dreaming in the early days, and it needed to be about dreaming to get it started and off the ground. You needed to do stupid things like buy the factory to start the thing. But to actually bring it to profitability and to bring it to as many people as possible, you actually need to do a lot of work. And honestly, you know, we started doing that a year ago, because before it was more about the dreaming.
Doc and the Impossible Project captivated a lot of hearts, including mine. I mean, I suffered pack after pack of the early Impossible Project film to get those few shots worth keeping, but there just weren't enough enthusiasts like me to keep the business around. We had this amazing story, we had this amazing mission, but at the end of the day, we had a lot of work ahead of ourselves to make it a sustainable company, or we'd be gone. One of the turning points was bringing Stephen Hirchin on board around 2014. I mean, he knows instant photography better than anyone on the planet now, I guess, and actually worked directly with Edwin Land straight after graduating from MIT. And he's been instrumental in evolving the product to where it needs to get to.
Actually, just that one there. Yeah, thank you.
While the company had to focus much more on viable products, Doc continued on his quest. Authentic and possibly impossible projects, such as craftspeople swimming against the tide of convenience.
We still have to really fight hard, because still on a daily basis things, machines, technologies disappear.
Großmeister.
Alles gut?
Hallo, servus.
Servus, Florian.
Es ist wieder soweit, wir brauchen Nachschub.
Ja.
Feinste, zu Tode gestreichelte.
Ja.
Hast du was für mich?
Da hätte ich was für dich.
Ja,
schau mal rein.
Ja.
Ich bin ein echter Dullner. Eigentlich da aufgewachsen in dem Haus, ich habe nie was anderes gesehen außer Fleischhauerei. Die Damen vorne, also meine Frau, die Irene. Meine Mutter, die Traude, das ist sehr eine gefürchtete. Dann haben wir die Magda, die ist im Verkauf. Die Dragana, die ist eher für das Anrichten vom Mittagsmenü zuständig. Und mein Sohn ist eher für die Wursterei, für die Schinkenerzeugung zuständig.
Ich komme immer hierher, jeden Dienstag, weil der Hans das Ganze noch so macht, wie das immer war. Warum ich hier stehe, ist, ich bin 6-mal abgeblitzt an der Frau Schmölz, weil sie gesagt hat, wir liefern nicht nach Wien. Wir sind nicht interessiert, in einer Großstadt was zu machen. Wir machen hier unsere Sache.
Vielleicht alle einen Hauptweg.
Das ist ein Affenzirkus.
Leute wie den Hans, der eben etwas macht, nicht damit er biozertifiziert ist oder mit irgendwelchen EU-Richtlinien, sondern weil er das so gelernt hat und einfach spürt, dass nur wenn man an das Thema mit Respekt und mit Ehrlichkeit rangeht, hat man eine Qualität. Er ist so wie auch komplett anti-digital, Handy.
Gibt's hier gar nicht.
Halt, was ist los?
Was?
Was ist los?
Was los? Was soll los sein? Alles gut.
Harry oder was?
Schaue ich aus wie ein Vegetarier? Also mal, Entschuldigung.
Was wirst fotografiert? Na, stopp, wir lachen nur.
We are in Berlin, and I have some negatives from New York to develop my analog shots myself and experiment.
Hang on, we're living in the digital age. This seems like a lot of hassle.
It's good sometimes to just be completely lost on your own in this little cave for the whole day or the whole night, and you can't even have your mobile phone because you have a bright screen and it would destroy the picture. So I think that's very healthy. I don't think it's a hassle. I think also for your brains and for your physical feelings, just moving, doing things, looking at it properly and not having this weird bright light around you from computer screens or, yeah. It's very calming and it's very rewarding.
And it walked on up my tree when suddenly it seemed all the fingers were pointing on up at me, and the footsteps in the sand were all getting washed up by
So, all was well in the land of analog? No. In reality, their products weren't selling, and Impossible was fast running out of money. Doc was under pressure.
Financially, we had to find a serious investor to take the next steps with us. The candidates were not standing in line. Luckily, we found Mr. Smolokowski. Oscar back then convinced his father to give Impossible a chance.
He got excited about the project. I think I just forwarded an email. I was like, they're not great yet, but this has some potential.
Slayton, we're on roll J.
Slava was a classically trained clarinet player, but also an inventive investor, which happened to be exactly what Impossible needed this time.
It's analog.
I think we needed a bit of a reality check. For the product to work for more than a few people, which was what was needed to kind of keep the lights on in the factory, we needed to do something about it or the whole dream could die.
If you start to doubt your own product, or if you don't have this 100% trust that comes from inside, it's hard to sell it, it's hard to convince other people. The problem with Oscar, he didn't really feel secure about the quality and many other topics. You know, I always, even with the worst film, I said, wow, I love it. Look at these killer crystals. Wow, somehow.
It's one thing to have a dream, and it's a very different thing to actually execute on that dream and build a company.
I always like to do things that can go totally wrong or be super, super incredible. Steve Jobs, what was so brilliant about Steve Jobs? He was the only guy who you really believed in, that he really was in love and proud and crazy for his own products. And this is, in today's world, this is very unusual.
I was lucky. I found what I loved to do early in life. I started Apple in my parents' garage when I was 20. And in 10 years, Apple had grown into a $2 billion company with over 4,000 employees. And then I got fired. How can you get fired from a company you started?
Well, this is how. The film was still a disaster. Millions had been lost. Something had to give. And that something was Doc.
Sometimes life's going to hit you in the head with a brick. Don't lose faith.
It was crazy. Of course, it hurt me to leave the company, but then loss of energy or even thinking of giving up, this was never on the table.
Okay,
Moment, jetzt kannst du nicht weggehen, jetzt schneide ich die Zwiebel. Weil ich mein Leben lang trainiert. Hilft das ja dann. Achtung!
Das ist aber lieber Mehl, das ist dann doch spannender.
Was? Spannender als Zwiebel?
Ich finde es jetzt wieder besser, jetzt ist es wieder authentischer.
Hat das Lava auch gesagt.
Das Lava hat immer gesagt, eine Frau wird
Wie er mich in die Wüste geschickt hat, hat er gesagt, eine Frau wird das gut finden.
Ich bin auch nicht die Frau, die mit einem Mann, der viel Geld verdient, um die Welt reist. Das interessiert mich nicht.
Also ich glaube, der Herr Schmölz wäre stolz auf mich, wenn er sieht, mit welcher Präzision.
Ich habe gedacht, ich habe einen Biologen geheiratet. Biologen sind relativ brotlos. War mir ja relativ wurscht, weil sie immer sehr kreativ war. Aber irgendwann muss man sich überlegen, wie viel Zeit, wenn man 3 Kinder hat, den Beruf opfert, der dann aber brotlos ist.
Ist das jetzt bei euch Dauerthema jeden Abend?
Nein,
oder?
nicht mehr, aber doch sehr präsent.
Wein oder Polaroid? Was muss
Anna, ich will jetzt nicht hier zu nachtreten, aber ich habe Doc ja viel erlebt auf der ganzen Welt. Wie ist der Doc zu Hause, wenn er von solchen Momenten zurückkommt?
Ich glaube auch, dass der Flo mehr Energie hat oder Energiereserven hat als andere. Sehr fordernd, aber glaube ich auch pusht jeden von uns oder auch mich beruflich dann auch immer sehr, Dinge anzupacken, weiterzutreiben. Es ist keine Show, also der Flo, das ist schon wirklich alles Realität und wahnsinnige Realität, aber es ist unsere Realität, ja.
Es muss schon immer was passieren, also so gesehen ist das ja, die Herausforderungen ist ja das, was das Leben auch ausmacht.
Brutal anstrengend, ja.
Ja, aber ich glaube schon, dass er als Burme seine Arbeit hinterlässt und dass das wieder als die analoge Zeitalter wieder ankurbelt.
Das fand ich dann irgendwie, war ich schon stolz, dass er das auch geschafft hat, die Firma wieder aufzubauen und so. Aber irgendwie dann lustig, dass die Firma rausgeschoben ist.
Super.
Den musst herlos.
Doc's energy was insuppressible. He didn't stay down long. Of course, he'd soon start a new impossible project.
Super Sense is one of my dreams come true. Spending a lot of time with the rediscovery of analog technologies in a digital world, I found out that the people who love Polaroid, they also love vinyl, they also love good coffee, they also love letterpress, they also love books. And so I said, let's bring all these things together in one very special place. And I found this, crazy Venetian palace in the heart of Vienna. And I said, okay, this is the place that would be the perfect home for bringing all these crazy technologies under one roof. People always ask me, what is it? Is it a museum, a bar, a restaurant, a shop? Basically, it's a laboratory for me. We can try a lot of crazy things and technologies.
Was sehen wir, Martin?
Das ist eine ganz normale Schallplatte, die sich mit 45 Umdrehungen pro Minute dreht. Wir sehen, ist analoges Video das auf Schallplatten gespeichert wird, von einem ganz normalen Plattenspieler abgespielt wird und von einem ganz normalen Fernseher wiedergegeben wird. So, unser Gerät ist noch ein bisschen zu laut eingestellt. Ich mache es mal ein bisschen leiser, damit das Bild nicht überbelichtet.
Meanwhile, back in Berlin, Oscar and his team are working on ways to make the company better, to create cool analog products for digital natives.
Das ist Betsy Nummer 3. Wir haben 3 so Frauen dort, die alle gleich aussehen, außer der hier, die hat einen kleinen Bart, den sie nicht mehr wegkriegen. Na, aber der Arm, oh Mann, der Arm.
Nein, ist alles gut wieder.
Der hängt aber nicht, den kann ich nicht reinhängen.
2010, 11, 12, if you explain to people what we're doing, they'd say, ah, nice. They'll probably fail. I mean, the reality is impossible is 1% of the market. And then we were hoping to, grow from there. But at the end of the day, this idea of rebelliousness or not, I mean, we're still going to be this company here.
And Possible was a totally rebellious concept, like it's a concept that had no logic really behind it at all. It was just a very impassioned person following through on their dream. And I think it's important for us that we maintain some of that.
We need to put our finger on what it was that made it so special. And the idea that we landed on is bring magic to life. This is how they used to do nice brochures. Yes, this is 1972, but this idea of magic is kind of everywhere. And if you really think about what all these cameras did since the 50s, 60s, 70s, whether it was a small moment with a family or people, we really want to preserve that and to build that. If we get this right, that next product can be great. Hi, I'm Oscar. Hi. I worked on this camera and I'm CEO of Impossible Project now. I wanted to invite you to just give me some feedback.
Okay.
So this is it.
Okay. It looks like it came from the future.
Good.
I think it's very sexy.
Very sexy. Very good to hear. How would you take a photo?
Yeah, maybe on and off.
Help.
How would
I have no idea.
So you've got 8 lights, which corresponds to 8 photos in each pack. It tells you how many you have left.
Smile. Now. Yes. I like the idea. Really interesting.
Oscar was heading to New York. He had put everything into Impossible's first all-new camera, the i1.
Like the basic way it works like this. The ring flash is great for portraits. And when you turn the camera on, it tells you how many photos you have left. And then you can switch it to Bluetooth mode. Yeah.
So you have two sides. I have no idea whether the Impossible Project is onto something or is not onto something. It's very difficult to know with any generation what technology is going to take off and whether or not something this retro, given that everybody's got a camera in their pocket, is really going to have any kind of resonance.
I think I'm pretty a responsible person. When I start something, I want to make it happen. A lot of milestones is in front of the company. This is one of the important, but not first and not last.
I very much do believe in real businesses, but the question is, what is the business model? Is the business model, earning billions every year and, growing 100% every 6 months? I don't think the world works like that.
So, how does it work? Doc sent me to meet his friends at Moleskine, probably Analog's greatest success story. They had just saved something themselves, Fratelli Bonvini, Milan's oldest stationery shop and printers.
Analog. We are analog. We are something very physical. Analog is not a thinking, it's a real thing. Handwriting, for example. Many schools, especially in the United States, started to eliminate the teaching of handwriting in the primary school. And then neuroscientists started to underline the fact that the difficult learning of this kind of physical gesture is something that is implying a wider part of our brain. Because physical is hard, is heavy, is something difficult to learn, to manage.
Allora Pietro, tanto posizioniamo la P e fissiamola sul tirabozzi. Bravissimo. E il colore che cosa scegli? Un bel dilemma il tuo.
This is bringing us to access knowledge, experience, and especially emotions and the capacity of deep understanding.
Prova a schiacciare un po' di più.
Sezione rosso. Un rosso strano.
Però così
Vabbè, siamo qui apposta a sporcarci. Tanto inchiostro, benissimo, bel pastrugno facciamo. Per scrivere col computer schiacciate un bottone e viene fuori una lettera dalla stampante. Questo è un altro sistema per stampare le lettere. Bisogna avere delle lettere vere, fisiche. C'è una grande differenza. Qui siete un po' più liberi.
As a child, I was always fascinated by science fiction. I love my iPhone. But the very success of Moleskine has been through technology. Because people suddenly discovered that they could do their writing on paper, but at the same time showing it, sharing it, and creating communities around that through technology and through digital.
Bellissima.
Oh, che bella!
Ma è stupenda, guardate che roba. Cosa ne pensate di questa possibilità che vi offre questo sistema? Che è interessante o no?
Molto!
Che?
Se avessi a casa tutte queste macchine, ogni giorno mi metterei a... Sì.
Bene ragazzi.
Io voglio continuare.
E bello dritto. Benissimo. Oh, adesso Già.
We think that this opportunity is for the future. Of course, we are a sort of natural place for designer or young creative people that live here, but not only. Yesterday night, a client saying sometimes I'm entering here just to smell the different flowers that you have here, the wood, the ink, the paper. This is not a museum, for sure.
Dreamers need partners to help them make the dreams come true, ideally with deep pockets to match.
Christmas in Vienna. This is the analog capital of Europe, if not the analog capital of the world.
Oh, I can't wait.
I know, I know.
Doc had invited David Burnett and his team to discuss investment opportunities in vinyl.
So welcome.
Wow, this is it?
That's it.
Wow.
No, it's still under development, but yeah. So basically, the first room, this is where Flo is gonna work on this cluster. And then on the right side, we have the printing area we're gonna see later.
Okay.
But first, I have to show you a very special thing, because you saved Seeberg 1000, and this is also from the family of Seeberg.
Does it work?
Of course it works. You remember nothing that doesn't work.
I know, I mean, I've seen pictures of this. I've never seen one in person. Layla, this is so cool.
This is incredible.
We have to build our own phonocut,
Absolutely.
Gonna meet Anna.
Hi, David.
At the same time, when we do the recording, we produce also the covers. So we have developed a very special cover that comes...
David was one of the internet's first millionaires, a digital pioneer. In the 90s, he had invented GeoCities, an early social media platform. But lately, David had fallen back in love with analog.
Go.
Button. I'm going with the red button.
We change the world.
Okay.
Okay, I go for the black button. Are you ready? Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Oh my
God. Very good, very good, very good.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
The smell, again?
Yeah.
Wow, this acid.
I think the new definition of luxury is not necessarily jewelry and watches, it's the curated experiences. And it's the authentic, one-of-a-kind experiences that analog provide. A custom photograph, a custom record.
You have to smell it, because this is an incredible smell. Oh, you don't have to listen to love it.
Resolution's so crisp.
Because it's 1-to-1, it's not an enlargement.
Oh, it's 1-to-1, right. Do we roll them up after it dries?
Yeah. After it dries, we push on.
Push on, yeah.
Oh, this is off. On.
Push on.
Okay, then it's phono.
Phono,
and it's 0, 1.
You can hear it working.
You can even see it working.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's so cool. It's a whole jukebox in a very stylish cabinet.
And you can program it, so you really can, when you have a romantic dinner, you program it, and then you have 3 hours continuously.
And look at the logo right there. Isn't that beautiful?
Let's see if it can. No, it shouldn't play.
I just want to say thank you, everybody. This has been a fantastic series of performances of classic and new music here in the Supersense Analog Palace in Vienna. Your magnificent playing has been recorded right back there, direct to disc. So this is not a pressing. This is direct from the microphones to the cutting head to the disc, which is unprecedented. And I just want to say thank you for being part of the renaissance of this classic music and the renaissance of analog history here in Vienna. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
heute ist ein wichtiges Meeting mit Polaroid. Leider weiß ich auch nicht genau, worum es geht. Ich musste nur Champagner kaufen.
At Impossible, a negotiation was going on behind closed doors. It's the dream to reunite the Impossible project with the Polaroid brand. If this works out, it'll be Slava and Oscar who will make this dream happen.
Ich hoffe, dass es zu Vertragsverhandlungen oder Unterschrift kommt, dass dafür auch der Champagner ist. Also das ist das, was ich mir wünsche.
Is everybody here? Cool. All right, so we can start. So I think this is the first time where I don't feel like I'm bullshitting, that I'm saying the Impossible project is a success.
Okay, so let's go through this. So, Polaroid acquired by a new ownership group, led by the Smolakowski family. The new owners acquired 100% of the shares. Mr. Smolakowski is also a majority shareholder of the Impossible Project, the company that purchased the last remaining Polaroid factory in 2008 and continues to manufacture instant film for legacy Polaroid cameras.
The day we flew the Polaroid flag at the factory again was huge.
We're also very pleased to welcome the new ownership group to the Polaroid family and excited to begin writing the next chapter in the story of the Polaroid brand.
In 2008, obviously Doc started the Impossible Project, and now in 2017 we're becoming Polaroid, which I honestly didn't expect. Obviously, thanks to you guys. Cheers to that.
It really felt like a brand new company. Finally, even the film worked.
You know, Polaroid's goal and Dr. Land's goal for a camera like this was, this is the most important part, this red button. So if all I should have to do is press the button. This is our film that we've been selling, and this is our new film. The biggest thing I think that a customer will see right off the bat is that it's a faster developing film. It's the most instant film that we've made. In my mind, it's really the first film that's worthy of being called instant.
Is that important?
Yeah, it is. If you think of a magician who's going to pull a rabbit out of a hat, well, if it takes 20 minutes for him to get it out, chances are it's not going to be a very effective act. But if it's fast, then obviously it makes a difference. Here you can see that there's already a recognizable image here. And here there's nothing. So at this point, we're 3 or 4 minutes into the development process, and you can now see this one is fairly well developed. This is going to be the new Polaroid Originals film. A customer doesn't have to know anything about the complexity of the film. All they have to know is how to take it out of the carton and put it into the camera. Kind of 3 things that have happened that are really changing the dynamics of the entire company. One is the quality of the film has gotten better, and it's finally gotten more instant, and it's finally gotten to be instant. Another is that we have a really nice, lower cost, brand new camera. And the third is that we're combining those two with this world famous brand. And that's going to change the whole dynamics of the company.
We had witnessed a bit of a miracle. The 1940s tech was back in 2018. It worked, and it was called Polaroid again. Oscar and Doc had pulled the rabbit from that hat.
I was 22 when I joined the project, and obviously I had no idea it would become my whole life. I mean, there were years on the journey where I definitely wanted to quit, but every year there was more to be done, and it felt too important to even think about anything else. So before I knew it, I was 30, and this project indeed became my whole life.
We are one big Polaroid Impossible family today.
I wanted to thank everybody who made the Impossible project a reality. Thank you so much.
80 years ago, to the day, right here in New York, Edwin Land had founded the Polaroid Corporation. How rare is it that such a company, analog and totally not Silicon Valley, rises from the ashes? The underdog was proven right. What an achievement. Doc would have been proud, but no one had made sure he was there that night.
I was standing for the romantic, passionate, dreamy, crazy part that was super important in the beginning. I think it was a beautiful love affair. And as you know, not everything goes very easy in love affairs. And it had many twists and many discussions, but it was a big challenge with a lot of up and downs. Of course, without scheitern and failure and making mistakes, there is no progress. But this is the thing, you know, try it. Is it a failure that I'm not, or is it, you know, do I feel sad because I'm not, you know, actively involved in Polaroid nowadays? You know, sometimes yes, of course, because I thought, you know, this would be my dream, and especially I promised to my wife, this is the last project, you know, this time it works out. But on the other hand, I would never be sitting here if you know, if things have not evolved like that, and I have the feeling, okay, the whole Polaroid story, maybe this was just the warm-up for many other projects to do, and there are many other places to take care that they are not vanishing. I think I scare a lot of people, but my hope is that some people are inspired to think out of the box and maybe try things that at first sight are impossible.
It didn't take Doc long to find a new impossible love affair. The most analog place he had ever laid his eyes on needed saving. A 1902 Grand Hotel outside Vienna that had stood empty but fully functional since the 1970s, waiting for the right Don Quixote to kiss it back to life.
This is the Südbahn Hotel up in the Semmering, a very special Grand Hotel close to Vienna. And the last guest checked out 42 years ago. It's part of a crazy vision of bringing analog treasures and pleasures to the people and help people remember that places like that, built over centuries, are important even in the digital world. We have to open this hotel. There's not a question. It's not even think about it.
1900 war das Südbahn Hotel ja das beste Grand Hotel in Europa.
Da spürt man noch so diese Energie, oder? Das ist ja auch beim Supersense, wo man sagt, wenn man hier reinkommt, vergisst man mal so eigentlich alles. Es ist so ein Reset. As you can imagine, my wife kills me because she said, can you finally concentrate on one thing? You know, can you do one thing and, you know, have it done? And I just say, you know, it's always exactly the same thing. You know, this is exactly what it is all about. Wahnsinn, das ruft danach, dass hier wieder was passiert. Und auch, wie Sie sagen, es war nie zu, sondern die Leute sind ausgecheckt.
The owners love this hotel, but every McKinsey consultant has been telling them it's impossible to reopen, uneconomical, not profitable, blah, blah, blah. Until Doc came along with his style of business plan. Just give it a good clean. Don't change a thing. It's perfect already. Can't you see?
Es ist unglaublich.
Man kann sich schon gut vorstellen, oder, dass Leute wieder hier tanzen und wieder,
Absolut.
Die Stimmen, es ist ja, wartet ja nur drauf. Und es ist aber schon unmöglich ein bisschen, kann man das sagen? Das wäre für mich wichtig, weil das ist, erst wenn es wirklich unmöglich ist, beginnt ja der Spaß.
Saving the Südbahn Hotel would require passion and a lot of money. Doc had plenty of the former and none of the latter. But then he got an email from the most unlikely of senders. Doc was headed to Silicon Valley of all places, and there, rather less impressively located in a swamp, sat one of the world's largest companies ever. The whole world had begun wondering about Facebook, but few people had seen it from the inside. Doc strolled right in. He had a question for Mark and his team.
I don't know exactly what will happen, but I have a feeling it's just important to keep going. You know, it's a big question, you know, and even the guys who founded it said, okay, this is out of control. In the beginning, when we started the film with the Impossible Factory, this was a universe that didn't care. And over the years, this has totally changed. Everybody called me crazy, and now I think more and more people think Facebook is crazy and out of their mind.
It was Scott Bohms of something with the promising name of Analog Research Lab who had got in touch.
Dear Doc, the mission you're on and the story you're looking to tell is very close to my heart and right in our sweet spot here at Facebook. This is a very different kind of project, so I'm not even sure where to start. A few of us had an interesting meeting on Wednesday that ties into things like this, and we'd absolutely love to have you out to visit and talk more with us. We're actively pursuing opportunities to reach out into the real world in a positive way and have stories like this that we can share, especially as I feel like we're in the middle of a really important moment in time right now.
Oh my God.
Talk soon, Scott.
Yes, Scott, your words, even if just received digitally, are full of delicious analog energy, and I urgently need to meet you again and dive deeper. I 150% agree that Facebook urgently needs a deep cultural consciousness. I probably looked this up in a dictionary. Reconnecting you to the real world and all your fantastic senses. Can't wait to discuss this face-to-face. Excited Doc.
Think different. That was once the motto here in the land of Google, Facebook, and Apple, the cradle of our digital world. Doc came to remind them of it.
These companies, they start building a parallel universe. All these employees there, basically there's no reason for them to live or think outside the universe. So how can they solve the problems in the real world when they don't even know about it?
They're just a website. 10,000 people working on one website. You know, it's crazy.
Somehow it felt like, you know, being in a movie. It's not at all connected to reality.
Yes, in a genuine life is stranger than fiction turn, Doc discovered that at the very center of Facebook headquarters, where you would least expect it, there really was an analog heart beating.
Hello, welcome.
Hello.
I'm Dana Martin. I'm the programming manager here at Facebook.
Doc, hey.
I'm Scott Bohms. I'm the
Scott.
graphic design lead here at Facebook in the Analog Research Lab.
Wow. Thank you so much for having me here on this, I think, very special place.
Yeah, very happy to have you.
How can this be, honestly?
It's quite a treat to have a creative space like this at a digital company. I think it really is important for us when we're trying to build bridges within our community, and it definitely expands to our mission and our goal of connecting the whole world.
Wow.
We definitely fit into Facebook culture, and we've been called the heart and soul of Facebook. And Facebook's mission is to connect the whole world and bring the whole world closer together. I think analog and research really speaks to how we want people to slow down. Humans are the only animal that can not only think of what is, but what isn't. So we can see the impossible and bring it to fruition.
I really love the name Analog Research Lab. And what would be your answer when I ask you, what is the smell of Facebook?
I think it would be different for different people. I mean, in here, we come in and we smell, the dust that settles on things in the room, or a can of ink, or a can of paint.
But, are we talking about the people working here as a community, or?
I find myself spending less time online than I think I did before I started working here, which is a little ironic, but I think that just speaks to how much we really value and how we want to impact the world.
So, Facebook had a soul, after all, and a smell? Doc wasn't so sure, but always one for going the other way, he put it to a test. He attempted some kind of analog judo grip. Doc's plan was to persuade Facebook to co-host his long-cherished analog superheroes dinner at the Südbahn Hotel.
So this is our invitation right here.
For the big evening that will change the future of analog. But we have to talk about the guest list, right? 12 people?
12 to 15, I think, was sort of the
Okay.
magic,
Okay,
seems
okay,
like the
okay.
magic number.
Yeah, this is a dinner menu. Not boring food, but food for thought. Yeah, exactly. Very good. So we thought it's not just about sitting together and being nice, but we have some really crucial answers.
How does digital smell? Does digital make any sense?
After a long period of analog companies trying hard to become digital, I think it's now time for the digital companies to start thinking of how to connect with people in analog ways.
So here we go. You can already kind of see some
wow,
of the
cool.
image on there.
It looks very harmonic.
Yes, and there is a harmony to it, and we're mixing up something that started digital, and it's transforming back to analog. This is something you can't do digitally.
I take a picture if this is fine for you.
Yeah.
Don't move, don't move. It's black and white film, Scott, unfortunately. Okay. So these two colors stand for analog and digital. I think the analog should be the bright color. This is not about good or bad or evil. This is about how can we create a world where there's a balance again. This is the future, baby. Look at it. Why I end up co-hosting this amazing evening with Facebook, a lot of bad things are happening, but again, I think, this is the perfect moment to start acting against it. And this is not just about Facebook. This is about, if you want to change the world, you should sit together with the biggest companies on earth to change something, because with my friends and old guys, we can sit together having many beers, but we will never change the world.
Okay, everyone ready? Roll sound. Roll camera.
He did it. After 42 years, Doc had opened the doors to the Südbahn Hotel once again. Facebook, Moleskine, Supersense, Polaroid, everyone he wanted to work together was coming together. At least for one larger-than-life night of enjoying all 5 senses.
How can you not see people sitting here having a nice glass of wine, walk around this hotel and look and have your own dreams of all the things that happened here? It's like cinema, it's like you are in a movie.
Sunny day in all its glory, hot as a 4th of July. The wind came in and it grazed my face and it led me to your eyes. Something told me I'd be seeing you again, but for some reason I still cry. Now years have gone by, I'm still by your side, but there's something on my mind.
You know, I started because I was in love with this hotel. What more do you need than you feel happy here, even if there is no heating and there is no wine, there is no service, nobody is here, but already you feel happy and you can spend hours here. You don't need to study, you know, hotel science for 15 years to find out that this is a magic place.
I don't know how, I don't know how to love you. Now I don't know, baby, I don't know how, said I don't know how to love you. Now in the morning, I reach for your embrace, 'cause I know that you need.
It was an evening about celebrating everything Doc stands for, about falling in love again with analog, and the idea that our lives could be less cold if we chose, and our projects more impossible.
We live in a society where the people are sitting, controlled by their computer, and that's our future.
There are people in photography that are doing beautiful work, photography
That
work,
effort
and just
part
because
of it is really important.
Thank you everybody for coming. It's, I think, a very important evening, but hopefully it also should be some fun. I have been asked several times what exactly is the plan for tonight.
We need more docs in this world. It's important to support the people doing good work with fundamentally good values.
My question is there a role of digital making this world a better place?
Digital technology in general is at the infancy.
In terms of getting shit done, in terms of record, it's better.
We think our customers are idiots? What are you saying?
I mean, we could talk about digital and analog, but the balance of all things, good and evil, boils down to give people something real, they grab it.
What makes us fucking human? What makes us human is that we still have emotions. And if we forgot what emotions mean, let's at least trigger each other to have
I
those
don't think we have to pit them against each other. We don't have to choose, we can have both.
But the problem is we would not be able to look at both if not some people, you know, stand up and do shit that nobody else is doing. You know, I don't even know for myself, will I ever succeed and not, you know, wake up every week and not knowing exactly how to pay the bills.
kind of analog, digital, I cannot hear it anymore. It's like thinking about sustainability, love and hate and like and dislike. It's so over-digested, you know?
My wife tends to the theory that I'm one of the world's biggest losers at the end of the day, and I tend to think of that I'm one of the most successful visionaries, maybe in one more difficult year or 2 difficult years or 10. You know, we will find out. You care. You know, you were shooting on 35 millimeter, you know.
Who cares? I'm talking about the...
Everybody cares. Everybody cares. Especially the young generation cares. I mean, they start to roast their own coffees, you know. They care, you know. They just don't know that places like this exist. So, you know...
Sorry, Doc, it's not a business.
A business? What is a business? A business.
It's what counts.
What is a business? What counts, you know, in what world the business counts? No, I don't believe in that.